Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Splatoon. Don't you guys just love this game? This game is it's fun. I love it. So I wanted to talk about something a little interesting, something that piqued my little brain cells in my brain, and that is the anime that I watched like I think a day ago, and I binged the entire anime in one day because I had time. So that anime is the fragrant. How's it called? The fragrant flower blooms with dignity. So recently I watched it, and it's a romance anime, so you know it's cute, it's pretty, it's beautiful. It actually has really good animation, honestly, which I was really pleasantly surprised by, um, especially in its peak moments. So I really enjoyed the anime. It was honestly really well. And there's little anime that you can watch and not experience the absurd amount of fan service out there with most romance animes, and this just lands well. Like it's realistic. Oh, it's not that realistic, but it's I don't know. I don't really know. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how to describe it. It's special. It's very special, and I think it's the character interactions when it comes to apologizing and communication to feel a little bit real, because I mean, I don't know. If you're a really good communicator, you understand what I mean, or at least try to communicate the best that you can. When things happen, apologize, make up, all that stuff, all the sweet stuff that you know, it's important to effectively communicate. But as I watched, it really, I don't know, it really, it made me cry. It made me cry like a lot, you know. Um, because again, I just can't emphasize how good it was. Really, like it was really good. It made me really emotional, a lot of the times because I think I can relate a lot to how these characters express themselves and throughout the story, and a lot of the thought process behind their actions are really easy to understand, but yet they're very, very deep, and I always really like that. Oh shoot, um, I'm also playing the game, so, um, but as I was saying, yeah, no, it really, I don't know, like it captures something that I've always wanted to see when it came to romance anime, but I just never really got because again, there's so much romance anime that's just it's a whole rush, and I'm not gonna say that this is like avoiding that rush, right? Um, talking about slow burns, slow burn romance, right? Um, so that's just beautiful. I think slow burn romance is genuinely the best kind of way to fall in love with somebody. Um, and yeah, it's like it's an anime, so it's very much a lot more dramatic and unrealistic in a lot of aspects. Um, when it comes to its romance, uh, but at the same time, it's very simple. That it's like, huh, like it doesn't have to be overly complicated. And I think this is kind of my problem with romance. This is what I really wanted to talk about. It's how the anime kind of shows a sincere kind of romance that the world just makes hard to happen. Like and it's so sincere, it's so healthy, but it's kind of like it's realistic, right? It's possible, but there's just so much that has changed about the world now, and it's just it feels less and less possible and less common for situations and things like that. the way they happen in the anime itself, um, to be resolved. Uh, so it just made me kind of sad in that aspect. And not only that, when it comes to the romance itself, like the approach of how the relationship develops, it's it feels natural. Like it's not complicated, but it's not something that's overly rushed, you know? Um, and I like that. I really do. And there's a reason behind our romance. It's not just, oh, you're pretty. Let me talk to you. I feel like a lot of people, not even feel like, I know a lot of people just approach people because they're pretty and stuff. And I get that. Like, that's normal. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think, honestly, it is shallow. Like, sometimes it really is shallow. But I'm not in no way gonna say that I've never done that before. Like, I have before. That's how I know. Like, it's really not the best way to love somebody and appreciate them. Um, excuse me. It's really not the best way. Like, it's not a good how do you call it? I made this analogy with a friend once when I talked about this, and it's not really a good long-term fuel source for any kind of romantic relationship. I just don't think it is, and I've seen a lot. Like, I've seen a lot in my life. So many failed relationships, my parents' own relationships of other people that I know, friends, and all that stuff. So I've seen a lot of it, and it just kind of makes me upset. Like, this is just kind of a rant that I wanted to talk about, or a rant that I wanted to talk about, a rant I wanted to put on the internet because I think some people do feel the same way I do, and it just sucks. Like, love feels so hard now. And it's not that falling in love and all that stuff. Like, honestly, my best suggestion, if you're like afraid that you can't fall in love or it's hard, really what you really need is to just learn psychology. Learn psychology. I recommend to learn a lot of psychology and learn it from well trusted sources. Don't go on TikTok unless you're following, the popular, really like good sources on TikTok, right? But don't listen to random people on TikTok. At least ones that like they say stuff, but none of the things that they're saying can actually be traced back to real, credible sources. So be skeptical and do your research. So yeah, falling in love feels hard. Like, and it's not falling in love itself. I think what I mean is finding love. Finding that person, and it's hard because what even like what does true love even look like? The romantic kind. We have brotherly love, familiar love, and friendship love, which comes to be like brotherhood as well, or sisterhood too. For the girls watching this, and it's really beautiful, and I cherish those aspects of love so much. Like, I appreciate all my friends so much, and I swear, like, I wouldn't be who I am now because of them, and what I've learned with them, and what they've taught me, and what I've taught them, what I've helped, and what I help with, them and their growth, as people. So I just don't really understand what it really looks like. Like, I've been in many relationships before, but none of them have lasted at all, you know. And I thought I found one around 2 years ago, but that didn't, end well. I had to end it myself because, the person changed, and that's what it was, and there's nothing wrong with that, and plus I had wrong things too, so maybe at the time it wasn't even good for me to be in a relationship, because I don't know, I think I needed growth, really. And or there was just I just didn't know what I was doing with my life or where I wanted to go. I was just kind of living it, um, which is fine, but it just kind of it just really lacked structure and direction and purpose and meaning. So I just I was just that way at the time. But what makes me scared about not just finding love, but what happens when you do find it, you know? Like I'm not a great person. I don't I'm not going to say I'm the spawn of Satan, but um I'm not like, you know, I've changed. I've grown. I've made so much progress, but my past is like how dare I want something so pure? That's where the anime made me question myself about how could I want something so pure? You know, I you know, I was raised well the best possible way and under the circumstances I was in, which weren't great at all. And to be honest, it's not like they're great now either. And I've tried so hard to change and to be the best person I can be, and not just that, but be a good person, and for others, specifically for others. You know, I always found it a lot easier to be better for others than it ever was for myself. And but I think now I'm growing in that aspect where I'm finding the reason to even do it for myself in the first place, because I think when you do things for other people all the time, it's easy. But what happens when those people betray you? And that gets dark and scary. It's not like, you know, I'm not wise with picking my friends. Um and I shouldn't have said betrayed. That's not the right word. But since people grow and change, I'm afraid that the people I'm around, that you know, the people I consider family and brothers right now, will one day change to be so different that we just don't get along or don't hang out as much or just don't see the same reason. Um, we don't see eye to eye, you know. We don't get happy the same way. We don't laugh, uh, you know, about things we both find funny anymore. Someone's humor is too different, and I'm afraid that I won't be able to understand that humor and make that person happy, um, because our humor has changed or my humor has changed. Um, so it's just something I worry about sometimes, and I don't really even talk to them about it. And I think this is like the best way I'm going about it, because I think this is what I want to do. Upload videos and talk about things this way, um, on the internet about what I'm really feeling, and what I'm really thinking, because it's so hard, and I want to know why it's so hard, because I guess, like, to some degree, sadly, I don't trust people. You know, I don't trust people enough, or or maybe I'm just upset at myself for even feeling this way, knowing that I shouldn't. Um, and the reason why is because I don't even get to hang out with my friends as much as I wish I could. Because we live so far now. They're at college. I'm not at college, although I wanted to go. I just never really got the finance for it. Still don't. Um, but at least I'm doing something for myself and learning, acquiring skill sets, um, and doing the best I can. But again, it's when it comes, I don't know. I got so sidetracked, but that's really what I'm feeling, and I think the anime reminded me of that also with Rentaro's relationship with all his friends. It it really warmed my heart, and all the moments made me cry. Like, I cried every moment. The romantic ones and the ones where it involved, the friends and everything. it just made me cry a lot, like a lot, because that's the type of friendships that I want, you know. And Rentaro is kind of like the person that I want to be, and more. You know, I want to do a lot more, and because I struggled to do so much, I went. That's why I suggest, getting into psychology. Um, if your mind is very confused and stuff, because it does clear things up. It does clear things up, and I really recommend it. I really do, and it just helps me understand how I am right now, because I've been through a lot. I've had an unbelievable life. Like my life, I don't know. I've had gone through so much hell and so much pain, so much trauma, so many things and so many different aspects. I feel like I can understand a lot of people, honestly. Um, to SA victims and and more than that, anxious people. Um, I get it. I've been through it, and it's hard. It really sucks. So I guess this video's. It's sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I took the guy's egg, so I just threw it back. Um, so yeah, I guess this video ended up being a lot more deeper than I intended to be, but that is the questions that popped in my head and the things that the anime made me think about. But the things that I really do appreciate, just to be positive, not like this is negative. It's just um, it's not the only thing I want to talk about. Um, the really important thing to me about the anime is that it made me feel like I was finally seen in the way I want to be loved one day. And again, like, I can't help but feel like, dude, like so much stuff has happened in my life. I have had so many addictions, luckily never to drugs, but to looking at things on the internet, that I shouldn't be looking at. Um, in porn addictions, just that's what I'm referring to, porn addictions. I want to be careful because it's YouTube, I don't know. Um, it and I've fought it for years, like years. And my first exposure was when I was like young, like very young, like to corn addiction specifically, or corn. Just I think it was around maybe when I was 5 or 6, maybe a little younger than that, and but I never really, you know, um, I never really, it never really developed into an addiction until I was maybe 11, when I finally got unrestricted access to the internet. Um, well, I did have unrestricted access to the internet. What I meant to say is that, um, basically, my second exposure to it was when I finally had my own phone. Um, the first one was when I had my dad's phone. Uh, so yeah, that's just how it was on my first exposure, and it sucks. It really does suck. Um, like I was masturbating by the age of like, basically at the first time I got exposed to it, and then the second time I like, because there was a gap for a while where I didn't watch it. And then the second time was when I was, again, 11, 12, somewhere around there, um, when I got my own phone. And before I got my own phone, the way I was exposed to it was a friend of mine, which wasn't even a friend, it was just a classmate, I guess. Um, and I don't not know where that dude is at now. But that guy, kid, was watching um, femboy hentai. So, yeah, hopefully this video doesn't get restricted. Um, so yeah, um, that wasn't good because for a long time, that is what I watched at a very young age. That is what I watched. Um, and and now it's just like I don't know. I feel like I'm healing now from all the psychological damage it did to me now, but it makes me upset because there was so much I think I missed because of that. I was more sad. You know, you already know the effects after you're done, you know, doing that stuff. Um, you're, you have less energy, you're tired, your mood is different. Everything just goes down. Everything. And now thinking about it, when I look back, it's just I miss so much. I've missed so much about, you know, my life. I miss so much with my friends and those around me, my teachers, uh, my schoolwork. I've missed so much. My family even connecting with them. I feel like I was robbed. So that's the real reason why I sometimes feel bad, like wanting such a pure love, because it's like, like I know I'm comparing myself to fictional characters that aren't even real, but I know there are people that are real and don't look at that stuff, you know. And thankfully now I don't look at it at all, or at least not as frequently. Like I can go months without looking at it. But eventually, you know, sometimes I end up failing, and usually it's because I end up having a day where I kind of do nothing, and I get bored, and instead of being busy doing something, that just kind of, that desire overcomes me, and that's what happens. Uh, but I do take it serious. I don't want to look at that stuff. I want to be a pure person, and the anime finally, like, that's what I'm saying. The anime made me feel seen for the first time about romance specifically. And it was weird to me because prior to this, I've never cried or, you know, uh, well, I have cried to Frieren, Beyond Journey's End, with the romance between Frieren and Himmel. That, I did cry to that because it was so pure. Again, like, it's so pure and so beautiful. Like, it's undescribable. I don't know. It is, but it is describable. But it's just like, dang, I can't describe how much, like, how beautiful I saw it for what it was. And and watching uh, the the it's such a long title. I don't feel like saying it. The fragrant flower blooms with dignity. Um, Watching the romance between Rentaro and Miss Wagri. I said Miss Wagri. Wagri, right? Um, I guess I really do see myself in Rentaro. Honestly, maybe that's why. Um, and their relationship is just so beautiful. I don't want a relationship where I even think about, like, yeah, that's a part of it, right? Yeah, like, intimacy, right? That's a part of it. But I want a relationship where it's like, what I think about more is spending time with that person, quality, beautiful time with them, and going through new things, and feeling understood, and and understanding them, and that's what I want, you know. And I'm afraid that one day when I do find it, I won't be the person that I'm meant to be for that. So that's why I work hard. I train, I lift more, I, you know, I go up, you know, and just train a lot. I try to run. Um, I try to max out my looks. I don't want to say looks maxing because I think it's now gotten to become a cringe kind of saying, honestly, because the community, at least the bad side of the community, just gives it a really bad rep. Um, looks maxing shouldn't be about, you know, making other people feel bad. It should be about, encouraging one another, just like encouraging one another at the gym, you know. But I don't know. The internet is full of a lot of people that hate each other, and because everybody's full of pain, or they're not thinking straight, you know. Um, but yeah, I guess that's basically all that I wanted to express and how I feel about the anime. Um, as I play goddamn Splatoon. Um, so yeah, hopefully, um, you guys understand what I'm saying. Like, it feels hard, but I have hope. I don't think I'm gonna be the type of person to stay alone. However, I pray to God. I'm not joking. I did pray to God about this. I said to God, I don't even want to fall in love at all. If I don't fall in love in a similar way or in the same way that Rentaro and Wagari fall in love. Because it's so sincere. And I'm tired. Like, I've been through like, um, like, let's say, I'm not going to be shy about this. I've been through 10 different relationships. And if you want to know, I'm 19. So you can pretty much understand where or how old I was during those 10 relationships in my past. My first one was when I was 12. And I don't even consider them real because they were middle school. And middle school is like really stupid, a really stupid time to be dating. And I was young, no guidance. Like, nobody guided me, really. I never had I had a dad, but he never gave me real advice, you know. Still doesn't to this day. But, I love him. I just, sometimes I wish I had somebody that could be a mentor to me. But now I'm learning to be my own mentor. And I think that's a lot more important, to be your own mentor. Because when other people aren't there and all you have is you, then you got to be the one to pick yourself up. And it's not about being prideful or saying like, I did this. No. It's not about that. It really isn't, you know. And if you really if you really mentor yourself and you really consider yourself a person that you did it on your own, you learned on your own, then you wouldn't be talking like that. You wouldn't be talking like that. You would know how hard it is, and you would be humble about your experience, not, saying like stuff like, oh, I did it and all that stuff, and nobody was there for me. I did it for, through my own effort and all that stuff. Be humble. Be humble, bro. Because at the end of the day, no matter what talent level you may be at, no matter what skills you may have, the world doesn't care. And I'm talking about the world itself, The world itself doesn't care. It's going to put you through hell, even if you didn't earn it, You're going to suffer. And that's a guarantee in this world. So stay humble. Please stay humble. Do not become a person that's just, looking at yourself and telling yourself, I did this and everything, and nobody was there for me. I get it. Sometimes that is the truth. Nobody was there. But even so, like, still remain humble. If you want to be the example and you really want to change the world and you really want to be that person that everybody can look towards and say, I want to be like him, then stay humble. Do not become like the people that you're so desperately trying to avoid being, and that you've seen the consequences of their actions. Don't become like them. Become like you, and become a better person. Be kind to other people. Um, I know that I'm trying, and I'm still not there to the fullest version of myself that I truly wish to be. But I know what it means, and I know the meaning and the purpose behind that goal, and it's beautiful. So I guess this is an encouraging message for you guys and for myself. Lately, I've been practicing self-talking, and what I mean by that, it's when I'm feeling negative about something, I talk to myself and try to bring myself back up. And I believe it's a great thing. I learned it from psychology, and I also learned it through scripture. Um, the way it's talked about in Psalms, where David would talk to himself, he would say, you know, "Why is my soul downcast?" or something along the lines of that, right? And he would tell it to praise the Lord and to be happy, you know. And I think we all need to do that. Be there for ourselves when it's really hard to. And I think if we find it hard enough to be there all the time, be there in the moments that you feel that you have the control and power to do so. It's not just about being able to lift the car. Well, this is gonna be a really bad analogy, actually. Hold on, let me change that. Well, let me think. I don't know. What's a good way to? I can't explain it. I don't know. I don't have a good example. But the main point is, you don't uh you don't always. Actually, I got a good example. Um, though unless you're bulking, then it doesn't make sense. But if you're trying to lose weight, right? And you maybe you're lifting and you lift a lot. You get insane pumps every time. You always move up the weight and make progress and stuff. You don't have to save cardio day for the weekend. You can do it every time after a set, and that matters a lot. You know, so what I'm trying to say is, work hard in the moments where you have control of yourself, where you know that you can do something and feel happy about yourself, or do something minuscule. Maybe you don't feel happy exactly, um but you're in control. Excuse me. You're in control, right? um and in those moments it matters, because when you lose control, um at least you will have cemented it in your mind, um and the times that you do have control. I'm speaking as in, shoot, what the frick? I didn't mean to do that. I'm speaking as in, because life gets chaotic, and you lose control, you lose temper, or you do something you shouldn't, and you go look at something you shouldn't, and it happens a lot. And yeah, just train that ability. Talk to yourself in the moments you don't have to, because then in those moments when something does pop up, you're gonna remember, and you're gonna do it automatically, because it's become a habit. And it'll help you psychologically. It'll help you. um, I believe in the spiritual. I think this is the reason why it works. um, and people can believe whatever they want to believe, uh, and so believe what you want. uh, that's just my view on it. But it does work. I guarantee you, it does work. Psychologically, it's been proven. Um, so it's good. So yeah. With that said, enough of the ums. Here I go again. Enough of that. Enough of stop. Oh shoot. Oh my gosh, I keep doing it. I guess you can tell that I'm pretty nervous when I talk, especially about things like this that are very personal to me. But with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is all I really wanted to talk about. Maybe it wasn't too organized, and I was kind of touching on a bunch of points throughout the video. But I think I got what I wanted to say out. And again, I don't want to fall in love unless it's in a similar fashion. And what I mean by that, I guess it's more of the reason why they fell in love. Not, it wasn't attraction, although I'm sure that had to do with it, right? But it wasn't the main reason why Waguri went to talk to Rentaro, or to even find Rentaro and try to talk to him. It wasn't because of his attractiveness or height or anything. It was truly because of how he is, his character. And that's just something very beautiful to me. And the anime really does a well job at breaking the patterns, the toxic patterns that we sometimes have towards one another. And sometimes it shows us how we end up, accidentally doing the same pattern without realizing, and it's the very same one that we're trying to break. Excuse me. With that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And yeah, have hope, stay safe, and remember that you're important, that you matter. Peace.